You're listening to the Dre Area Sports Show, live on YouTube and X. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
So we're talking about George Kittle. George Kittle also had this to say. So let's go ahead and go to George Kittle about why they've been so successful lately, and let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, I wonder what George is going to say.
You know what? I think, one, Mac Jones is a fantastic quarterback. The way that he's stepped up for when Brock has not been in and led this team to a bunch of victories is incredible. He gets hit a ton of times, and he stands right back up and delivers the next pass. The way that he is in and out of the huddle. So that is one reason I think for our success is him. And then I say the other one is, I've said this since OTAs, Robert Saleh is the best free agent signing that we possibly got. The juice that he brings every single day, how smart he is, the way that he game plans, how he sets guys up for success, puts guys in positions to succeed, how he calls the blitzes in the right time. Like, he's just such a good coach. And I'm so happy that we got him back this year because he is a fire for our defense and he will be a fire for us. So those are my two things. I think that is a reason why the team is good. And then, yeah, we're gritty. You know, anytime Christian McCaffrey touches the football, you have a chance for a 7-yard play. And I know we haven't had a lot of those this year, but like teams have to prepare for that. And teams are, you know, you got to kind of be scared of Christian McCaffrey. And so I think, you know, he had 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hey, there's Christian McCaffrey. You're going to get a lot more of that this year.
Huh.
And that's pretty huge in what
Strawberry.
he said.
Wait, Strawberry, were you listening there? Because I'm not the only one that thinks Mac is a major reason why we're winning. George Kittle seems to agree with me, and he's playing with him.
Strawberry said they should just cut Brock, get him out of the building. Tyler would be happy. So,
I mean, dude, the proof is in the pudding. The players can see it. The ball knowers like myself can see it. Mac Jones in this offseason, or in this offense, they're just meant for each other. This is who we should have drafted in 2021. I was a Trey Lance fan. But dude, Mac Jones, he's just literally Kyle's chosen one. It's just how it is. Whether Mac Jones is 160 yards and a pick, it doesn't matter because the offense is still humming with him with no weapons. Mac Jones is better than Brock Purdy in this offense.
well, okay, so let's talk about this. Mac or Brock? We know Brock Purdy is still recovering from his turf toe injury.
Yeah.
This could have him out for quite a while, or he might even come back next week. We don't know. There's been talk about him coming back next week, possibly.
Yeah.
Let's just say let's just say Brock Purdy says, you know what? They test it out. He goes, I'm ready to go. I'm 100%. If you're Kyle Shanahan, okay, do you put Brock Purdy back in the game, or do you ride the hot hand of Mac Jones?
Okay, so I've said this since the beginning. I've said this to Grant a lot. I've said this to a lot of people. I don't believe Kyle was the one pounding the table for Brock in his contract. I do not think that was a Kyle Shanahan contract. I think that was a Jed York. I think that was a York's contract. That really, really wanted a franchise quarterback in San Francisco. I do not think Kyle Shanahan was a big proponent of Brock. I think Kyle probably said we could do the same thing with Mac. If I was Kyle, I would continue to say rest up. They kind of talked about it on the broadcast. They said if Brock Purdy takes one wrong move, it could take him out for the season. And in my opinion, dude, Brock Purdy at 99% ain't better than Mac. In my opinion, Brock Purdy at 100% ain't better than Mac. But Brock Purdy injured is not better than Mac Jones right now.
What part of Mac Jones' game do you think is better than Brock Purdy? Like what makes him a better quarterback?
I think his decisiveness and his arm talent and his timing is much better than Brock's. I think the only thing Brock has over Mac Jones when they are both fully healthy is Brock Purdy's quicker. I don't think Mac is a statue. He just has an injured PCL. But Brock Purdy is quicker. And Brock Purdy has better anticipation, but it's the same thing all 6 foot and under quarterbacks have, where they can't see, they have to anticipate because if the pocket gets muddy, they no longer can see the field. So he needs to have better anticipation.
But we saw what he did, especially in 2023. He had stellar numbers, and even against like the Dallas Cowboys, who at the time were like the number 1 ranked defense, way back when in 2023, and he absolutely lit them up through the air. Is it a case where you think it's just a matter of Kyle's game planning that allows him to be successful, or do you think it's Brock's talent that allowed him to be successful?
So my thing with all Kyle Shanahan quarterbacks is his system is very, very friendly if you know how to run it. But I think what happened with Jimmy, what happened with Brock, and what's happening for Mac is at first it's smooth sailing. It's Kyle's system. You don't really know how to stop him because it's Kyle. And then you start seeing the limitations of the quarterback. So with Jimmy, it was load the box. He's not going to beat us over the top with his arm. He quite literally can't.
He also couldn't move either.
Yeah. With Brock Purdy, it's the complete opposite. It's get Brock Purdy out of the pocket and let him do this happy feet thing he does out of the pocket because he's going to throw us a pick. And you saw it in 2023. The reason it was ignored in 2023 was because all the interceptions were dropped, and everyone was memeing on Grant and Jesse and all those guys that were saying, like, but he has a lot of drop picks, guys. Like, if these start getting caught, these are going to be a problem. You saw last year, they started getting caught. This year, they started getting caught. He puts the ball in dangerous situations far, far too often. And, like, dude, two of Mac's 3 interceptions the last 2 weeks have been off of receivers. He only had 1 interception where I was like, okay, yeah, that stinks. What will eventually happen for Mac? Mac is, in my opinion, better than Jimmy and Purdy. I'm sure they'll find his limitations, which is, although Mac is a better deep ball thrower than Jimmy and Purdy, that doesn't mean he has a good, like, deep ball arm.
Yeah, I think he does have a stronger arm than Brock Purdy. I think he puts more zip on the ball when he has to. Some of those passes, like the pass he threw to Christian McCaffrey in the red zone to get that first down, I mean, he launched.
He has some zip.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a missile right to Christian McCaffrey, and of course he caught it. But I think that if Brock Purdy's healthy, I think he brings a lot of attributes that Mac Jones doesn't have. Obviously, his capabilities, his mobility, his timing. Brock does have touch on the ball. I mean, we've seen him make passes. Like, for instance, against the Arizona Cardinals. He was under pressure. He just simply lobbed a soft throwing pass right to George Kittle. He did that in the Super Bowl when he was getting pressure from his right side on that final drive, and he got to Christian McCaffrey as he was basically being sacked. So he has shown ability to do a lot of incredible things in terms of his numbers. Obviously, we look at 2023, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. 2024, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So again, we're looking at almost the same number of interceptions in back-to-back years, 11 and 12. Now, look, his quarterback rating went down. He went from 113 to 96. So there's a difference right there. And obviously his yards were different as well because he had a lot of injuries on his offense. So to me, I think that if Brock is healthy, I think you have to go with Brock because of, look, he's your number one starter. You offered him you're paying him a lot of money to not play. Now, if you look over at Atlanta, they're like, yeah, we did the same thing. And he's sitting on the bench right now. It's Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. We went with Michael Penix.
If you're looking at Denver, they did the same thing. They bought Russ out and said, you know what? This just ain't worth it.
It ain't worth it. But, I mean, look, Brock Purdy is not a veteran old quarterback who is past his prime. I mean, the guy's still very, very young. So, to me, I still think that Brock Purdy deserves a shot to see what he can do in this offense. Now, it's a matter of, will he be 100%? When will he be 100%?
Yeah. And that's the biggest question is you can't put Brock in there hurt because he's already not very good. And then you put him in there hurt, and then he's really bad because his escapability is taken away. His already, Brock Purdy has the weakest arm in the NFL. His already weak arm is significantly weaker because he can't push off his back foot. So you're asking someone who's already extremely limited to be even more limited, which is another issue I have with Brock, again, with the Brock versus Mac debate. Mac is much more durable. And he is much stronger, which is a thing in this. Brock Purdy's hurt his throwing arm 3 times in his career. He's now dealing with turf toe. And again, we don't know when it's going to be healthy. And they keep saying, like, he's truly day-to-day. He's truly day-to-day. So what's going to happen? Like, is he going to be 100% for 1 second and then he's going to lose again? And we're going to say, oh, well, sorry, his turf toe's acting up again. Because if that's going to happen, don't put him in. Like, just wait until he's truly 100%. Because Brock in his last 5 starts is 1-4. Mac in his last 5 starts, this is 4-1. I'm going with the winning quarterback. I'm not going with the dude that keeps losing and can't stop turning the ball over. Brock has like 4 games or something of multi-turnover games. You can't win football games like that. He looks really rough. I don't know if it's mental. Like he said last year, he was trying to do too much. But in the Seattle game and the Jacksonville game, you saw him doing the same thing. I don't know if it's physical. Like he tries to put balls where he just doesn't have the talent to do it. It's rough. If he is 100% healthy, I do agree. You're going to have to play him. Even if you do want Mac as the quarterback, you have to play Brock just to prove your point, technically. But I wouldn't play him until he's truly 100%, because otherwise you're setting him up to fail.
And that was the other thing too, is that, they allowed him not to go on IR when really he should have gone on IR. Yes. And that frees up a roster spot. Instead, he stayed on the roster and said, "Oh, I'll be fine in a few weeks." And now it's cost them, because he's not okay. He's not 100%. We saw him against Jacksonville. He looked awful against Jacksonville, and I think that a lot of that was because of the fact that he was still hurt. He couldn't put pressure on his foot, on his toe, and you saw a lot of his throws were sailing upwards, and which was costing him a lot in that game. It cost the Niners the game.
And I'd argue, if you watch his film, his passes always sail. That's been a thing in my opinion. If you look at 2024, his passes were sailing. Even if you look at 2023, his passes were sailing. The only reason, we're talking about him now is the Green Bay pass to Juwan that sailed, that Juwan reached up with all of his entire frame to bring down. It's just, I think if you let Brock play hurt, you're setting him up to fail. If you truly want him to be the $250 million quarterback, whoever in that building thought he was, he needs to be 100%. Like, it's just, you saw it in Jacksonville. He can't play hurt. So, if you want the best Brock Purdy, if I were them, I'd even look at it now and be like, bro, how's your toe? If it's bad enough, let's just put you on IR.
Yeah.
Like, let's just let you get fully healthy. We don't need you because I don't know, like, in practice, is he re-aggravating it? Like, should he be practicing with it? Because they said he tore the ligament. Did you hear that yesterday? They said it tore.
On Brock's foot?
Yeah, they said on the broadcast that he tore not that toe ligament, but one of the connecting ligaments.
Wow.
So they said it's torn. So when I hear that, it's like, then put him on IR so he can put his foot up and get his foot to 100%.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. I don't know. This sounds like it's a typical Niners injury, though. Like, you never actually know what's going on. So,
well, and I worry too, because if, let's say he's like, hey, I'm good to go, I'm ready to come back, and they're like, okay, let's go, let's get him back out there, and then all of a sudden he goes out there, he re-aggravates the injury, which can make things a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah,
I don't want him to force his way back into the lineup because he's overly competitive and he wants to get back out there, because all these guys are. Like you were saying, I want him to be 100%, and when he is 100%, I think he deserves the opportunity to start. It is going to be hard because you got to tell Mac Jones, okay, you did a great job, but he's a starter. And Mac has said, this is his job. I'm the backup. Sure. I'm just doing what I can. And look, when you look at what Mac Jones has done throughout his career, other than his rookie season, he's had a lot of bad seasons, but he's been on a lot of bad teams.
For sure.
And now he's with a better coaching staff. We're seeing how Kyle Shanahan, he has the ability to kind of rehab a lot of these quarterbacks. We saw it with, even Sam Darnold. Now we're seeing it with Mac Jones.
You're seeing it with Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones right now. Like, a lot of these quarterbacks, KOC said it last year. He said, bad organizations fail before bad quarterbacks. Like, it's spot on, dude. And that's the thing, man. Like, Kyle made someone of Brock's talent look phenomenal enough to get a life-changing contract. And I think the biggest issue with Kyle, though, is he gets his quarterbacks hurt. They get hit way too much.
They get hit a lot.
And even then, too, right? Say Brock is like, I am good. I'd be like, are you sure? Because dude, look how much Mac is getting hit. The only reason Mac can keep standing there is because he's 6'3", 200-something pounds.
He's getting smacked around.
He is getting, and for people to say, well, it's because he's essentially, dude, Brock Purdy was getting chucked around like a rag doll. Like it wasn't like Brock Purdy was this Lamar Jackson untouched, like moving around. Like Brock Purdy was getting hit just as much.
So Papa J writes he has a torn stabilizing ligament underneath the joint in his toe, turf toe, nothing we didn't know before.
Exactly. So in my opinion, if it's torn, you need to put him on ice. Let him.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because we are reaching towards the end of the show, but let me ask you this. When he was in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs,
yeah,
when watching that game, did you feel like, okay, this guy is limiting what we can do with this offense?
So when I was watching Brock in the Super Bowl, I felt the same as I felt with Jimmy in the Super Bowl, but before the fourth quarter, which is this guy's fine, right? Like, so take example. A lot of the people always compare Purdy to Jalen Hurts. Perfect example. In the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts looked like a stud.
Yeah,
like,
he played
incredible.
phenomenal.
Brock Purdy, he didn't play bad. He didn't play good. He just played fine. And when I'm thinking of a franchise quarterback, I don't want my quarterback that plays fine. I don't want the quarterback that played a half of bad football against the Lions. I don't want the quarterback that played 3/4 of bad football against the Packers. And then we go to the Super Bowl and you're just fine. I want the quarterback that even if he is a system guy like Jalen Hurts, he rises to the occasion and he steps up. And that's not including his durability issues that he's been having. Like, he's always nursing an injury and it always seems to affect him. Like when in the Ravens game, Christmas 2023, my favorite game, they always talk about, well, he was dealing with a concussion. Then why is he playing? Because he can't play injured.
Yeah.
Like, then the Jaguars game, well, it was his toe. Well, the Seattle game, well, that was his toe too. Then why are you playing him if he is incompetent when he is hurt? And again, that's, in my opinion, a problem. Mac Jones is hurt. He's not incompetent. He's not throwing 4 picks. He's not turning the ball over 3 times. He's like still serviceable. And that's my thing with Brock is like, sure, in the Super Bowl, he looked fine. But that's my problem is $250. I don't want to pay $250 million for someone that looks fine. I want him to look good or great.
But here's the thing, though, is that going into free agency, or I should say going into this past offseason, what other choice were there for the Niners? Yeah,
I would have made him play.
I would agree that I would have probably tried to make him play on his final year to see what you get. Because imagine if he was on his final year right now. You'd be like, I'm not giving you a massive contract because you've been hurt all year. But that's just kind of the way
that was my issue. Goes. Yeah. But that was my issue last year too, is he played awful. Why in the hell would you give him this much money? Like, I'd even have understood if they gave him the Baker Mayfield 3-year deal. Like, that I would have got. The deal they gave him, I was like, he did nothing to deserve that last year. He played bad. Sure, you could say he had injuries or Christian wasn't great or whatever. Okay, that doesn't change that I'm not giving you $250 million. I would have made him play on this year, or I would have given him a Kirk Cousins like year 2 contract where it's like 2 years, $100 million, fully guaranteed.
Okay, we have a question here. Tyler, if Brock is cut tomorrow, would another team put him on their practice squad?
If Brock is cut, I mean, yeah, he'd go on their practice squad. But you want a practice squad to be your franchise quarterback? A practice? That's the bar? Like, what do you mean? I don't think Brock Purdy would start on another football team if he was removed from the 49ers. No. I don't think he would never, ever have gotten this contract from anyone else. Never. I think they should have done what the Ravens did.
He led them to the Super Bowl and to back-to-back NFC title games.
Christian McCaffrey's Offensive Player of the Year led them to the Super Bowl. Have you ever looked at Jimmy's stats with CMC from that year? They were identical to Brock's. Identical. And that was Christian McCaffrey getting used to the offense. In 2022. Christian and Jimmy were just as good as Brock and Jimmy in 2022. Brock had a great 2023. Don't get me wrong. He played well. He had All-Pro Debo, All-Pro Kittle, All-Pro Ayuk, All-Pro Trent, All-Pro Christian McCaffrey, and an emerging Juwan Jennings. I would hope you could play well in that offense. I would hope. You know,
Tyler, you are crazy. I'm trying to gauge what you think
I
is.
think Brock Purdy is a serviceable backup quarterback in the NFL. I think if they did what the Ravens did and said, okay, we'll let other teams negotiate with you, 0 out of 31 teams would have given Brock the offer the Niners offered him. There is not a single team that would have given him this contract this year.
Now, I don't think he's saying that he doesn't think he's a backup quarterback.
I think he'd be a serviceable backup. I think he'd be a guy that's there, and if he had to go in, you'd be like, okay, cool. He'd be what you're viewing Mac Jones as.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If Brock comes back and he goes out there and he just starts lighting it up.
Mm-hmm. He won't, but yeah.
Oh my God. But if he does,
sure.
Will you? Are you willing to eat crow and say, you know what?
Oh, for sure. And this is the thing. People get so mad at me for this because I always say this. I hope Brock Purdy comes back, wins the Super Bowl, puts up one of my tweets and says like, "Fuck you, Tyler. This is for you." Like, dude, I wouldn't care. Yeah, I wouldn't care at all if he comes in and balls out, proves me wrong, dude. There is nothing I want more than the Niners to have a bona fide starting quarterback. I don't think it's Brock. If he comes back, I will be the first one to say, bro, Brock Purdy balled out. He let him hang. Like, if he comes back against Houston and he balls, right, and he does what Mac Jones has been doing against, if he does what Mac Jones did against the Rams, right, say Ricky doesn't come back, he just has Kittle and he just has Christian, then he has the other replacements around him, and he balls out, and just goes on a shootout win. I'll be like, bro, Brock, let him hang. That's $250 million. That's the quarterback you pay for. Of course I'd applaud Brock, but I haven't seen it outside of the Chicago game last year. He hasn't done it really. And the Ronnie Bell game, he played well. But
that was against the Rams. The 3-touchdown Juwan Jennings game. He played good in that game, but the defense couldn't stop anybody, so it didn't matter. And so, that's the other thing too. He was playing with a really shitty defense last year, but you could argue that
if Brock comes in and he plays well, I'll give him the flowers. But if Brock comes in and he plays like crap, and I hear, well, the line sucks, well, the receivers suck. Mac is 4-1 with the receivers that suck and the line that suck. Yeah. So that's my thing is I don't want to hear the double standards. Like, if Brock goes in and plays bad, it's straight up he's just not good. Like, and that's my thing. Like, if Brock goes in, I hope he balls, dude. I hope that I come on here and he plays against Houston and I come on here next week and you're like, dude, Brock is that guy. But I don't know, man. I don't see it. His arm looks so much. And that's another thing. I think he worked his arm so much in 23 recovering from his elbow surgery that it legitimately was stronger. And I think when he wasn't so focused on getting the arm strength to where it needed to be, his arm has been so much weaker the last 2 years.
I will say there are some throws that he makes where it's like the announcers will be like, Brock floats one over, and I was like, don't say that. Come on.
Yeah.
Floats one. I mean, come on.
Or like his go ball to Ricky Pearsall, where everyone's like, see, he can throw one. Ricky Pearsall stopped, turned around, and adjusted to it against Jacksonville. And it was like, Ricky did everything. It was like, look at Brock. See, I knew he could throw it. It's like, dude, the ball sputtered out. It ran out of gas.
Well, there was a hitch in the route, so he did have to stop and go. But I thought the pass looked really good. I think Brock Purdy can do a lot of good things, and I think that Brock has the intangibles that Mac doesn't, meaning that like in the clutch he could do a lot of incredible things. I mean, look,
he turns it over with the best of them.
But still, against the Lions, I mean, there was a guy hanging off his back, and he throws that pinpoint pass to Kyle Juszczyk on the sideline. There were plays like that where you're like, wow, this guy is doing some incredible things. However, the deep ball to Ayuk bounced off the receiver's mask. That was crazy. Say what you want about his throw. At the end of the day, that was just an insane play.
And that's the thing is, it's I don't dislike Brock. I just don't think he's that good. It's not a dislike for him. It's not that I think he's a bad person. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Like, and if
his political views don't align with mine.
Like, it's not anything like that. Like, I think Brock is an awesome story. I hope he gets a 30 for 30 and everything. I'm glad he got paid and got broken off. Deserved. Good job. Kudos on you. but I just don't think he's a bona fide starting quarterback in the NFL. I just don't. It's, it's not an emotional thing. I'm a 49er fan at heart. I want the 49ers to be dominant, and I want us to finally have a franchise quarterback, and I just don't see it being Brock.
Okay. You're listening to the Dre Area Sports Show, live on YouTube and X. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.